Good morning po sa inyong lahat. This is our third day in our spiritual journey during a season of hope, which we call Advent season, wherein we try to celebrate, we anticipate the second coming of Jesus, and we try to also celebrate His first coming, and in between this first coming and the second coming, which we are anticipate with joy and hope, is the here and now. How we anticipate concretely the second coming of Jesus. And so if you notice, during these days and coming days until December 15, the Gospels will be about, the lastings, judgment, how things will be transformed towards the end. And that's what the first reading, again, for the Advent season, we have the prophet Isaiah. He gives hope to people. In the first reading we heard today, the Davidic line was about to end, and yet God, as usual, will always intervene. Because He's a God of love, He's a God who cares for His people. They were desperate. Because, why? They were relying, the kings who were supposed to find their security in God, they would always rely on earthly resources. We find this in the Psalms, to find security in the Lord. Thousands chariots, 1,000 horses cannot save. A big army cannot save. It is the Lord. So again, the prophet Isaiah reminds us that true security can be found only by relying on God. Finding your security only in God and not on earthly resources. And then what we heard is like child's story or fairy tale when things will change because of God's intervention. The leopard shall lie down with a kid, the calf with a young lion. A child will be able to play a baby near a cobra's den. Wow! How can that happen? We are reminded that with God there is a new kind of relationship. Deeper, more intimate, and lasting. That's what it means. But from our experience, little things will make people quarrel, fight, will divide communities. And yet we are reminded how God, in His own way, in His own wisdom, will unite families, people, the earth together. So this is what the Lord has envisioned. A time will come, malayo pa po tayo doon. Walang hidwaan, walang away. Like the first reading we heard yesterday, wow, how many nations spend billions of dollars just to for security. And yet, when people, that's God's vision, will live like brothers and sisters, there will be no need for arms, be it nuclear or whatever kind of arms which are used for war, to defend oneself, to defend a nation. This, in God's vision, will disappear eventually. Do we believe that? Is that a children's story? If we believe in that, then we should pave the way towards the realization of this vision of God, when people will live like brothers and sisters, when people will care for one another, when people will find their security in God and not in earthly resources. Stocks, no matter how many they are, how high they may be priced, they cannot save man. You must have heard about the richest man in Singapore. I read it on, he's worth $12.1 billion. And you know what he said? We are all broken after a series long struggle. He finally found that broken piece that was missing in his heart. He said, there's a missing piece in our heart. It is God. It is our relationship with the God who satisfies all our thirst and longing. He finally discovered what would make him happy. It was not the billion of dollars he owned. It is God. We hope and pray in our Advent journey we will encounter the living God and find God in many ways, in people, in charity, and in our prayer life. And so in the gospel, that's what Jesus reminds us. He tells us that the wisdom of his Father is different from the wisdom of the world. The apostles came back to Jesus after they were able to heal. They were empowered to heal people, to help people. And yet Jesus told them, do not just be happy because you were able to do these things, but be happy, be thankful, be grateful, because the Father has revealed his Son to you. Because through Jesus we have life. Through Jesus we have light. Through Jesus we have redemption. Many rejected the light, so they did not see the power of Jesus, like the Pharisees who always tried to put him down, the people who did not accept him. So we are here to come to know more and more this gracious, loving God who cares for each one of us, who cares for all. Let us ask him to once again touch our hearts, touch our whole being, that we may be transformed by the power of his grace. Amen.